In his classic book, Your God is Too Small, Bible scholar and theologian and Scottish preacher debunked the many misunderstandings we have about the nature of who God is. God is not some type of cosmic policeman trying to catch you with some type of sin speed trap, nor is God some bookkeeper with a green eye shade and arm sleeves, keeping track of what you do, white marks for good works and black marks for places where we stumbled and fell. And at the end of life, when the sum is totaled, if our white marks outnumber our black marks, we get to go to heaven. And if the black marks outnumber the white marks, we become crispy critters at best. Nor is God like some kindly grandfather sitting there with a long white beard and white flowing robe in a rocking chair, just kind of passively watching the world go by. Nor is God a clockmaker who wound everything up in the beginning and then just walked away to let the world unwind. In the 14th chapter of John's Gospel, as Jesus was preparing to leave the disciples, Philip asked him, "Show us the Father." And Jesus replied to Philip by asking, "Have I been with you all this time and you do not know me yet? If you have seen me, you also know the Father." In the letter to the Colossians, in the first chapter, the 15th verse, the writer says that Christ is the visible manifestation of an invisible God. If we want to know what God's nature is like, if we want to know who God is, we need to simply look at Jesus. For God is like the shepherd who will leave 99 sheep behind in order to look for the one lost sheep. God is like the ever-patient, hoping father waiting for his child to return and then trying to enable reconciliation between his two sons. God is like the one who forgives without any strings attached, who, like when the woman was brought to Jesus because she had been caught in adultery and Jesus began to write in the dust of the streets ancient times ago, things that we do not know, long lost in the winds of time, but slowly but surely those who were going to stone her to death began to drop their own stones. Perhaps they were being shown their own sins. And Jesus then asked, "Is there no one here to condemn you? Then neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more." And God is like the man who was on the cross, who turned to one of the thieves and said, "Today you'll be with me in paradise." In that passage from John's Gospel, Jesus not only said that if you have seen him, you've also seen God the Father, but also said that in Jesus' absence, an advocate would be sent, the Holy Spirit. This coming Sunday is Pentecost Sunday, thus I am wearing a red shirt of St. Paul United Church of Christ. And on that Pentecost, in the Luke Acts tradition, the Holy Spirit descended upon the assembled disciples as they gathered in an upper room in the community of faith, descended upon them like a rush of a mighty wind and flames, little tongues of fire, landing upon their hearts and setting their hearts on fire. And so it is. God is like that loving, forgiving parent who embraces us and calls us to a new way of life. And God sets the Spirit upon us to set our own hearts on fire so that we can boldly proclaim the love of God that will never let us go and the peace of Christ that passes all human understanding. For those of us who wish to take Jesus seriously, those of us who wish to walk in the path of Rabbi Jesus, to care for the least, the last, the lost, the lonely, and the forgotten, and to make this world a better place. That's who the God is whom we worship, who shows us a better way, a way of truth and a way of life. I am Forrest Frosty Krummel, the transitional and interim pastor of St. Paul United Church of Christ, wishing you a very good week. May the love of God and the peace of Christ and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you. Take care until we meet again.